Welcome to the ride with Wild Wayne Cartwright, an exciting thrill ride through the wonderful world of HBCU athletics. Before our trip begins, let's set a few ground rules. First, subscribe to this YouTube channel. Second, hit the like button. Third, please be sure to tell someone else about this show. Now that we've got these things out of the way, it's time for our journey to begin. Sit back, relax, and enjoy your ride.
And welcome to the ride once again, everybody. And tonight we have a great event for you. What we are talking about is the throwdown Saturday night in the hole. 2-1 Jackson State matching up against 2-1 Grambling. You see the time. And if you're not in the house, you see the network. Now, both teams, they come in winning their last two games on similar paths. You know, they both lost a game in the state of Louisiana against Sunbelt teams in week 1. They smoked the SIAC team in week 2. And then Grambling went to Texas A&M Commerce and pulled off an overtime win by 7. And Jackson State thoroughly dominated Southern on the way to a 33-15 win. This game is going to be big, and to commemorate the occasion, let's welcome our two contestants tonight. Coming in from Jackson State, please introduce yourself.
Hey, everybody. Yes, I am representing the illustrious Jackson State University. I am SheLovesThee. I'm excited about tonight. Jackson State has a storied program. Grambling and Jackson State, they have a lot of history together. These last couple of years that we've played Grambling, Jackson State has came out on top. So I'm excited to be here on the ride and pleading my case for why I think Jackson State is going to dominate this matchup.
Outstanding. And fighting to represent the Grambling State Tigers. Sir, please introduce yourself.
Hello, Graham fam. I'm Michael Winfield. Like she said, we've got a bunch of history between the programs. Grambling is just the premier program of the SWAC that goes unquestioned. I think we beat Jackson State like 20 years in a row. Then came Dion, and he kind of started shifting the tide a little bit, and we kind of had some down years. Fob kind of dropped off a little. Hugh was a bad hire. But I think we've got the right man for the job now. And Grambling's it's gonna be a great game. It's gonna be a classic. It's gonna be an instant classic. I'm expecting a great intense game, and order will be restored. Just don't even worry about it. Just get your tickets, come early, because it's gonna be a sellout.
That's what's up. Now, just to put a little bit of context to our matchup. All right. 2 years ago, last time that they met, it was 66-24 by the way of Jackson State. And then over the series, Grambling has won 13 of the last 16 matchups. So Jackson State has won the last 2 straight in the series, and Grambling is looking to get back in the winning column of this matchup. Now, everybody that's watching, understand that this is a debate. And on Wild Wayne's show tonight, I will be the moderator. And I will also be looking at the entertainment in the comments, because this is a sounding board for trash talk of the game. All right. Now, for our two candidates tonight, both of you will get an opening statement. And then we will have 4 topics. Actually, sorry, 4 topics that we will cover. Everybody will get their chance to speak about what the other said. Everybody will get their chance to respond. All right. Now, first and foremost, SheLovesThee to Mona. your opening
Yes.
statement, please.
So as we know, Jackson State has beat Grambling the last couple of matchups. We're going to extend that lead this weekend in the whole. It's going to be home away from home for Jackson State University. Grambling hasn't had a sellout since the 90s. That came from your AD, a statement that he made. So everybody knows that when Jackson State comes to town, we're going to bring our fans, we're going to bring our band and our players. It's going to be one of those home away from homes. We're going to go into the hole and take it over. No Diddy. I'm excited. And I'm ready for this debate. I'm gonna have to fact check Grambling beating some Jackson State 20 years in a row. I think that's a little exaggerated, but nonetheless, we're looking to dominate this weekend, and I am so excited to break down our offense and our defense and everything else that Wild Wayne Cartwright has in for store. And thank you for inviting me. Thank you for thinking of me.
Well, thank you for that opening statement. Mr. Winfield, you're up for your opening statement, sir.
Yeah, you're coming to the whole. It's the mecca of black college football. It's the Notre Dame of black college football. Yeah, Alcorn's. I mean, Jackson State's not the only team we beat 20 years in a row. We probably beat A&M that many too. Y'all ain't been in the SWAC that long. But Grambling has been dominating and dominating. We got the most SWAC championships. We had a little down. We had a little dip there, but Mickey Joseph is. It was a little dip, little drop off. But if you think about it, Grambling hasn't really won since we had Dooley at offense coordinator. Guess who's our offense coordinator now? It's Dooley. And, we got the offensive player of the year, the best quarterback in the SWAC. He's one of the best quarterbacks, I'm going to say, in the history of the SWAC. He's definitely top 10, possibly top 5. His numbers are off the chart. He does some. He kind of frustrates you sometimes with his decision making. He throws some interceptions, but he can make every throw on the field, and we've got the receivers to go and get it. Man, we're gonna dominate. Man, we're gonna dominate the boom too.
Well,
It is what it is.
Well, thank you, Mr. Winfield, for your opening statement. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we shall proceed into the first topic of the night. And because Jackson State is the visiting team in this matchup, Miss SheLovesThee will go first on all of these topics. All right. Now, our first topic tonight is the JSU offense versus the Grambling defense. Miss SheLovesThee, you are up.
I'm so glad that I get to go first. I want to go ahead and set the stage for what's about to happen down there in Grambling, Louisiana. Michael Winfield, he made some really great statements about Grambling and their team and their quarterback. I think that when we look at the stats, we're going to go with facts, not fiction, numbers. And so Jackson State's offense averages 35 points per game. We're driven by an attack of 148 rushing yards and 225 passing yards per game. Our quarterback, Jacobian Morgan, has shown precision, and he actually is ranked 3rd overall in all of FCS, not just HBCU, but all of FCS, with a 70.1% completion percentage. So that dipped from the 82.1 that he was in week 3. So this last matchup against Southern, it dipped to 70.1, still 3rd in all of FCS. So our offense is versatile. So we have a balanced offense. So we have our running backs. We have Irv Mulligan, JD Martin, Travis Terrell. You know what? I could just go down the depth chart. And I would be here probably for days just talking about the different combinations of offense that Jackson State has. Jackson State's offense should be able to exploit Grambling's defense because they've allowed 426.7 total yards per game, averaging 163 of them are on the ground. So Grambling lets it fly. They let you run, So giving those vulnerabilities, Grambling's secondary allowing 263 passing yards per game, we can pass, we can run. So Grambling's defense, if they want to have even a slight chance against Jackson State, they're going to have to tighten up. They do have some pressure on the quarterback. They have about 1.6 sacks per game. But I am confident that unlike Tuskegee and Texas Commerce A&M, our offensive line will hold up.
Thank you, Miss SheLovesThee. Mr. Winfield, your response to that?
Well, let me start by saying that we have a lot of respect for Jackson State's program, and I personally picked them to be first in the East, and that says a lot. I also picked Grambling to be first in the East. Jackson State got off to a pretty good start against Louisiana Monroe, and I respect that they were 14-14 at the half, but getting past that, Lane College doesn't count. It doesn't. Then we look at Southern and we realize, man, Southern got beat by McNeese. Their only win was against Northwestern State. Southern's at the bottom of the West right now. I expected them to be near the top. Well, I went and saw the spring game. They looked like they were good throwing the ball. It hasn't worked out for them. But when you start talking about your offense versus your defense, Crawley has almost 600 yards passing, 595 to be exact. When you look at the numbers, Noah Biden threw for 352 yards against Jackson State. 352 from Noah Biden. If you think Crawley won't go for 400, you're crazy. The rushing attack, we got Katravian Hargrove. He's a transfer in, has 109 yards rushing on the season. Cavante Bradford is our main feature running back out of LSU. He's 6 feet 225. He's rushed for 78 yards. That guy's 6 feet 225. He's got to be about a 4.40, 40, and he's as quick as a wide receiver. Then you look at our receivers. Javon Robinson has 192 yards receiving, 1 touchdown. Nick Howard, who's 6'3", he has 143 yards receiving and 2 touchdowns. And the thing about it is, Jackson State may have the best run defense possibly next. I like Alcorn's defense a lot, but Jackson State's front seven is hell to deal with. But that secondary is susceptible. And the thing about it is, everyone talked about Dooley runs too much. He runs. He wants a running quarterback. Man, we barely run the ball. Like, I was mad that we didn't run it enough. So it's like first down, we're throwing it. Second down, we're throwing it. And it doesn't matter if it's 3rd and 1. If Crawley has a one-on-one matchup on the outside, he's throwing the deep ball. He's going to test your secondary all night. I like Grambling offense versus Jackson State's defense.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Winfield. Now, let us proceed to our second topic, and that is the coaching staffs. And what I mean by the coaching staff, I'm not talking about just the head coaches. I want you guys to talk about your offensive coordinator, your defensive coordinator, special teams. Talk about the coaching staffs. Miss SheLovesThee, you are first.
Well, I'm excited about our coaching staff. So, of course, this is Coach T.C. Taylor's second year. We've seen him grow into the head coach role after years of experience as an offensive coordinator. This year, he chose to actually take over the helm of being an offensive coordinator. It's been a topic of discussion all over on whether or not that was a sound choice. The first week, everybody was calling for him to replace himself as offensive coordinator. The second week, it's like, oh, okay, maybe, Third week, oh, okay. So for me, I feel like we have a younger coaching staff. Coach TC Taylor went and got some dogs, some younger, energized coaching. We have Coach Callie James, who actually played on the Tuskegee team that beat Jackson State. That is our defensive line coach. And baby, our front seven, I have nothing but good things to say about them. Our defensive coordinator, Coach Quinn, he was actually the cornerbacks coach last year, and he's been elevated to defensive coordinator. I love his play calling, his use of the blitzing in this last game against Southern. It was chef's kiss. I mean, the amount of pressure that was placed on the quarterback, as you can see, Saison Tizette ended up getting injured due to being sacked so many times. And then you also had Noah Bodden, who took a couple of big hits in regards to sacks. It's gonna be like hunting, right? The Tigers are on the prowl. The coaching staff, I feel like his experience with Jackson State, the tree that he comes from, and then the young ones that he bought on, Javancy Jones, of course, is from Jackson State. And he is the outside linebackers and special teams coach. Rip Kirk, the quarterback coach. I feel like we have a great thing going with the coaches at Jackson State University, and it's all translating onto the field.
All right. Thank you. Mr. Winfield, your response.
Let me just, I want to digress a little bit and talk about Hugh Jackson. Hugh Jackson, I liked him as a hire. The difference between Hugh Jackson and Mickey Joseph, Hugh Jackson was at Southern Cal and at Cleveland Browns, the Raiders. So he didn't have some of the grassroots connections, and that makes a difference when you start trying to go out and find your assistant coaches and your assistant coordinators. Plus, remember the coach from Baylor that they didn't let him hire. That was huge. But now, when we brought Mickey in, now he was a former head coach at Nebraska. He's been on every level, but he coached a lot in different places. I want to say he coached at Alcorn even. I know he coached at Grambling. He had connections to the SWAC, so he's familiar with the budgetary restriction, the recruiting ability the limitations that we have, and he had personal relationships with coaches who could come in and make the most with what they had. Uh, Hiring Eric Dooley, I was very excited when we did that. I have a lot of respect for Dooley. He did great things as offense coordinator at Grambling. From there, he did well at Prairie View to the point that he got a big payday at Southern. The reason he didn't work out at Southern is because he was too loyal, I think, to his quarterback, to a fault. And that was just, and he kind of rode the ship and went down with it. But he's one of the best, and people can say what they want. Dooley is one of the best offensive minds the SWAC has ever known. And you're going to see this come Saturday night. I've been seeing it all season so far. I've been impressed with his scheme, his play call, and his use of his talent. They didn't think he could coach a 9-running quarterback. Crawley can't run fast in a 5 flat, no disrespect, but he's not a runner. But he's able to improvise to his personnel. Jason Rollins, our defensive coordinator, our defense is a bend but don't break defense. We're not the smash mouth. You might get 2 or 3 yards here. You're gonna bust some big plays here and there. But if you make any kind of mistake, you fumble it, we scooping and scoring. Our linebackers can take the distance. You saw 42 take one back against Tuskegee. 43 had a big interception. Our linebackers are great. Our secondary, we've got so many we had like 4 turnovers against A&M Commerce. And Texas A&M Commerce was like number 9 in the FCS in passing coming in. They were averaging right at 300 yards a game. Obviously, they weren't able to do that against Grambling because, like I say, we'll give up, we'll bend, But when it comes down to it, they create turnovers, and that's what you want to see from your defense. On the specialist side, special teams, Grambling has the best field goal kicker in the SWAC. I like Southern's field goal kicker a lot because he's my homeboy from Vicksburg, Mississippi. He had like a 57-yarder last year. But this kicker at Grambling, he can kick it from if we're about 60 yards in, they're gonna give him a shot. He's got that type of NFL league. You will see it on display this weekend. We got the best offensive coordinator in the game, former head coach. Jason Rollins, great blitzing scheme, great use of your safeties in run support, pretty dynamic all around. Listen, and I have the utmost respect for TC and his young staff and his young program. I think he makes good decisions. Um, I don't like their decision to play McCoy over Morgan. McCoy is dynamic, but Morgan is a true quarterback. I picked JSU one in the East because of Morgan, and now they're not. They're kind of switching over to McCoy. Grambling has the best coaching staff in the SWAC, hands down. It's not even close. Period.
Thank you, Mr. Winfield. And now we proceed.
I thought we get to do a rebuttal. I thought we get to do a rebuttal.
You have a rebuttal. You have a rebuttal. You can rebut if you want to.
This is some stuff that he was saying, and it just
go for it.
So I wanted to put some context to some stuff now.
Go for it.
Now. So Texas A&M Commerce, they're not a good team. You know, they came from the D2 ranks in around 2022. And to see Grambling going toe-to-toe with them and having to take it to overtime just to win it, I'm sorry, but it's looking like a mall fest on part of the Jackson State Tigers this weekend. Miles Crawley, and this was against Texas A&M Commerce, had 2 touchdowns, but he also had 2 interceptions. And our secondary is absolutely way more stout than Texas A&M Commerce. And you guys actually ended up bringing in another quarterback, Deljay Bailey. He didn't play that much, but for me, I feel like this matchup is going to tell us some things about Grambling. But I feel like Mr. Winfield might be adding a little extra to the top with regard to how good the offense is and how good that defense is. He's kind of piling it. I get it, Mr. Winfield. Gas him up. But let's just put context to it now. All right.
Mr. Winfield, do you have a rebuttal to the rebuttal?
I have to. All these Jackson people, including myself, because I live in Jackson, we're going to get on this highway and drive down 20. You're going to see all these blue and white pom-poms. Y'all assuming, we're going to go there and win. It's going to be easy. Listen, man, that says a lot about Mickey Joseph that he benched the incoming offensive player of the year. If you don't get it done at Grambling, we have a standard. We have expectation. No one's bigger than the team.
Right.
The fact that he would take Crawley and sit him down for a series, that tells you he means business and he demands greatness. And you're going to see greatness on Saturday night.
Right. And so somebody in the chat said that Grambling is number 1 in the FCS in creating turnovers. So 4 of those interceptions was in one game, right? The Texas A&M Commerce.
We don't play. We get better every week.
And then the other game was Tuskegee, which is a D2 school. I mean, I'm not going to take it away. Brendan Barley, he has 2 interceptions, and then Caleb Lee Collins. So Jackson State is definitely going to be looking out for that linebacker and that DB, and making sure that our wide receivers are aware. But they haven't had a Jonas Fortillion or a Isaiah Spencer on their team who's going to get up. You know, Fortillion is 6'5". I think Fortillion
is kind of not 100%. he may
Oh
dress
no,
out, but he had an injury.
he's
I don't.
100%. He's fine. And if he's not, we have a long list that I can go through that can go toe to toe to Quan Henderson. I mean, you can just pick and choose which one that you want to take. But what I'm saying is this, which is that um the receivers that your DBs and linebackers have to face are not the same. Um, and so I feel like, and also with Jacobian being at 70.1% completion percentage, he's not a quarterback that puts the ball in harm's way. Whereas in Texas A&M Commerce, they were just letting it fly, putting it up there and seeing who's going to bring it down.
Wow, this is really good, y'all. I appreciate that. And we're going to proceed to the next one. And the next one is just taking a step off the field just for a minute. But in the stands, we're going to talk about these bands. Now, these are two of the greatest bands that have ever existed, most well known that have ever existed, well known. Now, Miss SheLovesThee, you get to talk about why you think the JSU band is better than Grambling.
Boom of the South really need that type of introduction. The name speaks for itself. The band speaks for itself. While Grambling State's world famed Tiger Marching Band is an icon in HBCU culture, Jackson State's Sonic Boom of the South has consistently been precise, had energetic performances. I mean, we just had the Boombox Classic where we took the halftime, the 0 quarter, the 5th quarter, coming in to the stadium, out of the stadium. I am for certain that the Sonic Boom of the South is going to add that extra push that Jackson State football team needs. We have our fans, we have our band. It's a Jackson State takeover. So that intensity that we'll bring, we're going to dominate not only on the field, but in the stands as well and at the halftime show.
Yeah,
Winfield, your response about Grant.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Jackson State does all this silly stuff with the band. They didn't let Southern march in last week.
What? It's not. We didn't let them march.
They stopped the golden.
Miss SheLovesThee, Miss SheLovesThee, you'll get your chance. This is Michael Winfield's moment.
Look, they stopped the Golden Girls from strutting on the ramp and doing their stuff. But see, we ain't scared of y'all. We're going to let the boom come in. We're going to let you come in, sit down, act like you got some sense. Because I'm telling you, now, y'all got a good band. I ain't taking nothing from you. I love the J sets. That's the only thing I like about Jackson State. But when you start talking, and y'all halftime shows might be a little better than ours. I'm just honest. I didn't like what we did in Lafayette at all. We were a lot better in our show against Tuskegee. But now up in the stands, no, we're going to blow that little band back to Mississippi. Man, they got over 22. That's one of the biggest bands I've seen. And I've posted them on my page, man. It's like they just keep coming and coming and coming and coming. We got a lot of bass drum. We got a lot of snare drum. We got a lot of quads. We got a lot of trombones. We got over 20 tubas. Man, that band is going, and they're going to get the crowd so hyped. And it's like Jackson State is thinking that they're going to come there and take over that stadium. It's not going to happen, man. It's going to be at least about 8,000 or 9,000 people there on Grambling's side, and they're going to be hyped and crunk the whole game. You talking out the side of your neck is what you're doing.
Miss SheLovesThee, you can rebuttal. Yes, your rebuttal.
Dun 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 dun. Jay! Dun 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 dun. Hey! Dun 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 dun. UJSU rocks the whole. Oh.
I love that song. I can't even front. uh
That's what
nah,
I have
man.
to say.
Mr. Winfield, no
It's going.
rebuttal to the
It's
rebuttal.
listen. It's going down. It is going down. GSU. I thought you knew. It is what it is. The best band in the stands will be the world fame. Now, I don't know about the halftime. I'm not gonna bet on the Orchesis versus the J sets, but in the stands, we're gonna blow them out. You won't even hear Jackson State.
Well, all right. That is
Walk in your
the end
trap,
of.
take over your trap. Walk in your trap, take over your trap.
All right. Well, that is the end of the third subject. Now we roll on into the fourth topic, and this fourth topic is and first off, let me just take a pause and just say thanks to everybody who's watching. You make sure you hit that like button while you're doing this. Because you know these comments, man, they going hot, man. Everybody's just going at it. I love it. So this is one of my favorite topics of the night. We call it the freestyle session. So during this freestyle session, this is where you both can talk about whatever it is that you want regarding this game. Each school, you can talk about whatever you want to talk about in terms of students, buildings, curriculum, alums. You can say whatever it is that you want to say during this freestyle session. Now, also, I'm going to set the ground rules for this freestyle session. The two of you can talk back and forth, but we're going to make sure that while you're talking back and forth on the rebuttal phase, your rebuttal has a start and it has an end. It can't be a continuous rebuttal now. Okay? Now, Miss SheLovesThee, you get to start the freestyle session. But Mr. Winfield will have his chance to respond. And yes, you will too. Okay? Now that we're clear, let's go into topic number 4. Freestyle.
All right. So this freestyle is going to be my players are better than your players. So I'm going to just pick three key players that I feel like are going to have a heck of a game, or they're going to contribute significantly to the game.
We'll have a blast.
Yeah, we're going to have a blast, as my son said. So we got Joshua Nobles. Now, I know that some people may not know who that is at Grambling, but if you don't know, you want to make sure that you know who he is, right? Because that is what we call, putting it lightly, that's the quarterback killer right there, right? He's on our defensive line. He's 6'4", 225 pounds. And this last game, he was putting so much pressure on the quarterback. He had 2.5 sacks, 6 total tackles. And I feel like he's going to have another breakout game against Miles Crawley. I do not think that the offensive line is going to be able to hold up, right? And so I'm going with Joshua Nobles. And then we have, of course, our quarterback. I know Mr. Winfield said that Miles Crawley was the best quarterback in the SWAC. Not sure what stats he's looking at, but our 1 and 2 can be interchangeable, right? Cameron McCoy or Jacoby Morgan. Which one do you want to choose? Both dual threat. Both have their strengths. And I feel like I'm taking my 2 quarterbacks over his quarterback any day if we're doing which offense has the best quarterback. And then, of course, we have our special teams. I'm not going to say that we're going to have too many instances where Matt Knoll is needed, but Matt Knoll is just that extra added chef's kiss, right, to defense by pinning Grambling in their own red zone. And then, you know, we'll be able to continuously make sure that they don't execute on third downs. So that's my first part of my freestyle unless he has a rebuttal for me.
Mr. Winfield.
Yeah, well, Grambling has a great pass blocking offensive line. I'm not crazy about our run blocking offensive line, just to be candid with you. Uh, but I think they're going to do enough to open some holes. We've got two of the best running backs in the SWAC. Irv Mulligan came back for his first game last week because he's just still not, he's not 100%. It's not me saying Miles Crawley is the best quarterback in the SWAC. He was the offensive, preseason offensive player of the year is Miles Crawley. That's not my vote. That's all of the coaches in the SWAC vote. He was number 2 in stats every week last year, only to Musa from FAMU. And
We
Musa's
in a
not
new
here anymore.
year.
Right. And now he's continuing, and he's near the top in stats now in passing yards. Now he does have a couple of interceptions, and I don't like that about him. He kind of does. But he's got a gunslinger mentality, like a Brett Favre type quarterback. He's gonna try to make plays where sometimes you would say, "Hey, man, don't try to force that into that window. It is what it is." I'd be remiss to not say that Grambling had 100% passing rate for the nursing school last year. So kudos to us for that. Uh, that running back, Bradford and Hargrove, we've got the 2 best running backs in the SWAC. We've got the best quarterback in the SWAC. And Javon Robinson is the best receiver in the SWAC. We've got the best kicker in the SWAC. And we've got we definitely have a top 3 defense in the SWAC. I think we've got the best offense, a top 3 defense. And I can just about guarantee you, man, Jackson State ain't leaving the hole with a win. It's not gonna happen. I'm sorry to bust y'all bubble, but order will be restored. Order will be restored, man. We've got to regain our place as the fathers and daddies and grandfathers of the SWAC. Y'all are little baby tigers. We raised y'all up. And now y'all done got beside yourself. Dion got y'all thinking y'all the big tigers.
Dion,
Y'all the little tigers.
we're
Y'all
like
the
literally
little.
in the second. We're
Y'all the.
of our head coach TJ
Y'all are
Taylor.
the little tigers. I don't care who your head coach is. Y'all the little tigers. Grambling are the daddy tigers. We the granddaddy of them all. And it's about to be. Listen, the order got out of place. Grambling just let things go awry in the SWAC. But we putting it back in order. Grambling is guaranteed. Listen to me. Regardless of what happens this weekend, Grambling is guaranteed to win the West.
They're
Mark it down.
guaranteed.
We are number 1. We're guaranteed we're gonna win the West. So if you're lucky, you'll see us again. We're gonna either play Jackson State or FAMU for the SWAC championship game. So I'm gonna hit up Mickey and tell him, hey, don't show too much, man, because we might have to play these guys again. But
He better
order
give
is
everything that
about
he's got. He
order
better give
is about to.
everything he's got.
Only Grambling can say order will be restored because y'all ain't got nothing to restore to.
Would you care to respond to that? She loves thee.
Absolutely. Grambling is stuck in this time of Eddie Robinson, the great Eddie. Let me say he's great, right? The great Eddie Robinson Jr., the Grambling of old, and I don't know. I'm in the words of Mr. Ford. Listen, that ain't happening. Mickey Joseph is a great coach, but he has a team to build. Going toe to toe with Texas A&M and fighting for your life. I mean, your back is against the wall.
Texas A&M Commerce.
Yes, and then going toe to toe.
Same difference.
You let Tuskegee put up 20 points against you, and you think you finna come in here and restore some order against Jackson State?
It's not going to be close. It won't be enough. We'll give you 20, but it won't be enough.
You guys don't even normally score that much. Listen, Jackson State is okay. So I did go ahead and look at the total offense. Miles Crawley is negative 21 on rush yards. So that means he's not dual threat nothing.
No,
so he better not try to run out there. He's gonna get Joshua Nobles, Philip Webb, Jeremiah Williams. Tyus Martin, the list goes on and on. You don't want them to come over there and get your quarterback. So we know for a fact that Miles Crawley is not going to be running. Okay. Secondly, I don't know if you watched the game versus Southern this past week. Jackson State completely shut down the ability for Southern to rush at all. And on top of that, if we're going to talk about how many yards Jackson State allowed Southern to put up, what's one thing that you didn't say that we didn't allow was scoring. They only scored 15 points, right? At that point, the coverage changed to zone coverage or off man because Southern was so far behind and then we had shut down the run game. The only thing that you can do is put it up in the air. But what did you get? You got an interception from Kevrick Wiggins, and that was a very pivotal interception right there in the red zone. You had another instance where one of our defensive linemen literally intercepted the ball and was trying to truck it back. So to that, I would say good luck to Grambling on the remainder of their season. Thank your AD for making this a non-conference game so that it doesn't count against your record in conference, because there's no way that you guys are going to win this weekend. The only order that you'll be restoring is possibly removing the G again off of Grambling after this big loss at home.
See, that's that disrespect that we feed off of. You know, it is what it is. I stopped watching the game when Noah Biden panicked and threw the ball to your D lineman. That was too much for me. Like I say, I went next to Mexican food. But the beauty of it is, y'all played a bad Southern team, and it's got all this excitement around your program. All you're doing is selling more tickets at Grambling. More y'all gonna come over there and make the trip and spend some money, and then y'all gonna go back sad and mad. Trust me, order is about to be restored in the swag. Let's go, Tigers. Let's go. We excited.
Well, and this was a great freestyle session. Now, before we proceed to the final portion of this debate, the moderator, I will now ask a few questions of each of you, and I'd like you to respond if you would. Miss SheLovesThee, this question is for you first. Mr. Winfield and several other people in the chat have talked about that they believe that Southern was not very good, and that your thoughts of your win over Southern could potentially be an inflated view of how good your own team must be. Can you please respond to that?
So they're saying that Southern was not that good, but they're weighing their wins based on a win against Texas A&M Commerce, who was D2 2 years ago, and Tuskegee, which is a D2 school. That's what you guys are weighing your wins on.
Okay. Mr. Philip Edwards, this is one of the pieces of context that was mentioned. He said Southern and a trash D2 are their wins.
So what you have to also look up is the type of play at ULM in the first half, the ability to quickly score right out of the second half. Some of our key players, how they were still able to, like Matt Knoll was still able to pin the offense for ULM, and ULM is a FBS team. And going out of game one, Jacobian Morgan still had his completion percentage was through the roof through game one. He only missed a couple of passes in that whole game. That's why he started out at like 82% completion percentage. So for people to say that our showing against ULM, especially in the first half, was really, really good. And ULM actually turned out to be a decent team who mollywopped UAPB, of which all
UAB,
play
Alabama,
UAB.
Birmingham. Right.
Yeah, right. So I think they scored 3 points. Alcorn did against them, and
did.
ULM left the floor with them. Okay, so ULM, that game showed us a lot. Once ULM started playing other teams outside of Jackson State, we said, "Oh wow, it was actually pretty stout." But Tuskegee and Texas A&M Commerce are not as good as Southern. Are you saying that Tuskegee is better than Southern, Michael?
This year they are. This year they are.
And Texas
Oh my God.
A&M Commerce.
Oh, A&M Commerce will beat Southern so bad they call the game off. Southern is worse than you think. They listen to me. And I do this every week, and I try to predict. And
Oh, I can't wait till Southern beat Grambling.
I think I'm a good analyst, but I went down to the spring game and I watched Southern for about 30, 40 minutes, and I was like, man, they are going to be hell this year. They go 5 wide, they throw the ball around. I picked them to be number 2 in the West, so I'm having to eat humble pie on them. Southern is bad. They're worse than you think they are. They really
I think that
are.
Southern's better than Grambling.
Wow. I hear you, Blue. They're catching all the knees and elbows tonight. Okay, back to what you were saying.
No, man, Southern, that I said today, lost to McNeese State, who is also a Southland Conference team. The SWAC has not done well against the Southland Conference, and that's where A&M Commerce is from. McNeese is in that conference too. When I saw that Southern lost to McNeese State, I said, man, we got to put an asterisk by that win. No, that's not a quality win.
Miles Crawley has
maybe for the boom might have got a quality win over Southern's band, but that football game doesn't. We don't count that. Throw them stats out.
Miles, you said throw the stats out, but Miles Crawley literally has 2 interceptions against Texas A&M Commerce. And you don't think we ain't gonna have a field day? You thought that that coach Mickey Joseph pulled Miles Crawley out of that game. He's gonna bench him before the first quarter is over. Like, he's gonna get benched. There's either 1 or 2 things that's gonna happen. Miles Crawley's gonna get pulled for interceptions in the first quarter, or the defensive ends are going to sit him down. Like, it's really. I'm not exaggerating when I say that this defense is stout. And based off of the play that I saw against Texas A&M Commerce, you're not going to be able to compete. Your offensive line will not be able to keep up. I'm not trying to be funny, but
we scored on Lafayette. We put up points on Lafayette too. It's going down. It's going down, man.
All right.
Yeah, Southern's not a quality win.
All right. My question. I have a question. Now, I had a question for SheLovesThee.
He has 3 interceptions, 3 games played, 3 interceptions, 6 touchdowns. And this is player of the year.
You want your quarterback to have 2 touchdowns for every interception.
No, you don't want your quarterback to have that many interceptions at all.
That's a great QBR. But see,
you do not want to have that many interceptions.
No, see, Crawley doesn't just throw a little check down and crossing routes. He throws the ball 40, 50 yards down the field. We throw deep bombs. We don't just throw safe routes. We don't look to have stats and percentages. Crawley might be playing on Sunday.
Well, let me ask this. This is a question here for you, Mr. Winfield. Grambling forced 6 turnovers and stopped Texas A&M Commerce on 4th down on downs 3 times. But yet the game still went to overtime. What is your overall analysis of that, and how would you explain that? And how do you think coming off of a game like that, that gives you guys confidence to do the things that you say against Jackson State on Saturday night?
Well, you want to see your team get an ugly win. That's when you see the testament and the character of your team when they face a challenge, when they have to go on the road. Uh, I actually was driving by the buses on the way to Dallas because I went out there too. We must have gone at the same time. But Crawley had an off night, and I was wanting to see our running game and to see what we could do in the running game, and that forced us to run the ball a little bit more. And I was very impressed with what I saw in our running game. And like I was saying about the defense, it's a scrappy bunch. You know, you get first downs on us, get some first down on us, but we capitalize on mistakes on defense, and that's what you want to see from your defense. And I think Texas A&M is a little bit better than what people give them credit for. I promise you they would beat Southern by about 30 points easily. Now that first half, they were going up and down the field, and so was Grambling. Our kick returner probably had 200 yards returning because we stayed in good opening field position off special teams. But that second half was a different game for Gremlin's defense. You know, we really shut them down. And like I say, when the game was on the line at overtime, we ended it with a turnover. If you throw the ball to our DBs, they're not going to drop it. They're not going to drop it.
Miss SheLovesThee, you can respond to that. And you have to come off mute to do it.
Yeah, I had to be on mute because my audibles were out of this world. So offensively, Jackson State averages more yards per game and has a stronger defense, allowing just 286 total yards per game compared to Grambling's 426. 426. Those are the amount of total yards that you allow per game, and that's against the likes of a Tuskegee or Texas A&M Commerce. Like, we are going to have breakfast, lunch, dinner, a snack, dessert. I think it's going to be a 500-yard offensive game for Jackson State this weekend. I really think that we're going to have a balanced offense. I'm excited, right? Michael Winfield, he's talking a good game, but the stats just don't match up to what he's saying.
I think Lafayette's included in those stats, ma'am. Lafayette's included in those stats that you're mentioning.
Exactly, which is good, right? If the defense is only allowing 286 total yards.
Lafayette was hell. They were hell. Yeah. We still did well on offense. We still produced, and we slowed them down on defense. Our guys were physical. They got to the ball.
I heard y'all was soft in the middle, Mr. Winfield. Soft in the middle. They said that you part like the Red Sea. You just tell them go on ahead. Just part like the Red Sea.
No.
I cannot ignore this one comment. I'm sorry. Miss Whitley says you're sitting up here, Mr. Winfield, higher than a giraffe's pocketbook. All right. I've never heard that before in my life, but now I've heard it. And I can't unhear it again.
I haven't had anything to drink today, actually. And I'm not drinking on the show out of respect for a show. I usually would if I were doing my own show. I'd have me a good cocktail or two. But you
gonna need a cocktail or two.
Everybody said they screamed when they saw that. Everybody, that is my comment of the night. Now, I want to. Oh my man, let me get it together here. All right, Mr. Moderator, get it together. All right. Yes, you did. You said hi. I know you said hi.
You said hi.
We got it.
I hadn't smoked either today. I haven't done anything today. I'm sober.
All right. Let me get it together, Mr. Moderator. Here we go now. We will proceed to the final portion of our debate tonight. And this is your closing statement. And inside of this closing statement, you will be able, and I will not allow you to leave the air without giving your score prediction, because we already know who you both believe is going to win the game. I want to hear the score and why that score will be what it is. Miss SheLovesThee, you may proceed with your final closing argument.
So my score prediction, I'm going to go ahead and repeat what I said earlier on my show with Ken Clark, So Phillips, and Mike Reed. Shout out to them and Around the Block. I predicted Jackson State is going to score 45 points. Grambling State is going to score 10. I wouldn't. So if Jackson State wins the coin flip, and Grambling decides for us to be on the defense out the gate, the first drive is going to end in either a safety or a forced fumble or interception. It's not going to be close. It's going to be I don't know if anybody's watched Game of Thrones, but there's something called the Red Wedding on the Game of Thrones, and it's just going to be a total massacre. It's not going to be pretty. So I want to go ahead and send out my condolences right now to Mr. Winfield, because he has such high hopes that he was going to restore the order, but that order doesn't come this coming Saturday in the hole. He's going to have to wait for a later date, maybe when he goes to sleep and in his dreams, for that win against Jackson State.
Mr. Winfield, and thank you, Miss SheLovesThee. Mr. Winfield, your closing statement and score.
I think I will go about 35-21 Grambling. I do agree that Jackson State's going to score some. It's going to be some turnovers on both sides. It's going to be a lot of hard hitting. Man, y'all come early so you can find a seat, because it's not going to be many places to sit. Some people going to have to sit on the hill. It's going to be, I see Grambling winning by at least 10, though.
On the hill?
Yeah, they're going to have to. We only got so many seats. It's going to be a lot of y'all. Because, see, y'all are so excited after beating Southern. So y'all really thinking you're just going to run through the state of Louisiana. It's not going to happen, man. It's going to, just like how they sit on the hill at Alcorn. We got a hill, too. But, man, I'm telling you right now, y'all underestimating Grambling, and we love it. We love it. Y'all underestimate Mickey Joseph. No, we're not soft in the middle. It's going to be some helmets knocked off and everything. Now, y'all going to score some points. Y'all going to do some things. Y'all going to get some turnovers. It's going to be a back and forth game. But my difference maker in this game is the hole. You're coming to the hole. Going on the road in the SWAC is really hard to do. But the hole is a hard place to win. It's a hard place to win. And it's going to be even harder come Saturday night. Grambling 35-21.
All right.
Just as a rebuttal about how hard it is at the hole to win in the hole, no Diddy. I just wanted to say that I feel like this particular win for Jackson State is going to set the scene for the rest of the season. After this dominant performance in Grambling in the hole, where it's so hard to win, we should be able to coast through the SWAC West, and we just have one hill to climb on October 19th in Jackson, Mississippi, and we will be on our way to the Celebration Bowl.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, what you have heard tonight, you have heard the cases from both Miss SheLovesThee and also Mr. Michael Winfield on behalf of their teams representing Jackson State and Grambling. And this game takes place Saturday night 6 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. Eastern on ESPN Plus. This game, we've waited for it for months. And what you've heard the debate. And I appreciate that everyone has come through. Those that are watching on She Loves Thee, those that are watching here on The Ride with Wild Wayne Cartwright, you have just heard the debate. So, Miss She Loves Thee, Timona Stapleton, and Mr. Michael Winfield, I appreciate both of you for participating. And also, I appreciate all of you fans for participating. And Sunday night, I will be back with a Sunday recap with Wild Wayne and friends. And yeah, to all of you traveling this weekend, do it responsibly. And good luck to all of your teams this weekend. Ladies and gentlemen, what you've witnessed, The Ride. Good night.